from the News Channel 5 Network. This is Que-pasa-Nashville.
Bienvenidos and welcome to Que-pasa-Nashville. My name is Cristina Allen and thank you for joining me. I have the privilege of speaking with Sheyla Paz-Hicks with Paz Communication, a local girl, like I say, that's originally from Cuba. Thank you very much for being on the show, Sheyla. I've known you for a long time and I love everything you do, so thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me once again.
I know.
Because I've been here before, but it's a different topic.
It's a different topic, but Sheyla, I met you years ago when you and your husband were teaching Latin salsa, and I went with my husband and it was so fun, and I know you do a variety of things, but mostly communication. So tell me a little bit about yourself, and I know we're going to be talking about your experience when you went back to Cuba with the White House, but let's start with a little bit of who you are and what brought you to Nashville.
Well, that's a long story, but I'll try to make it short and sweet. I am a musician, so I was working in a band in Cuba when I met my husband. He was there visiting.
And he's an American?
Yes.
Okay.
And he was just, you know, visiting, and he would go every night and see me perform, and we dated 2 years long distance. And the only way for me to come to the United States was to do a fiancé visa. So I told him about it, and he applied here, and it was granted. And within 6 months of applying, I was here. So I came in December 2000.
And did you come to Nashville?
Yes.
Okay.
What a shock.
Culture shock and all.
Yeah, yeah, because I left Cuba, I left like at 3 a.m. in the morning because my flight was like at 8 or something. And it was 80 degrees. Even in the morning, it's like steaming hot. And when I got to Nashville at 9 p.m., it was snowing.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, my jaw was shivering, and I was like, what is going on?
But you've been here since 2000, and we've come a long way from when you stepped off the plane as the Hispanic community to where we are now. So I want to really talk about the excitement of your trip to Cuba as a White House correspondent representing the Latino voice. Can you tell me a little bit how that came about and that opportunity?
Well, I've been a member of the White House press, meaning that I receive all the press releases or every daily guidance that he does. Whatever is going on with the White House, I get that in my inbox every day.
Because of your Paz Communication, your company. Okay.
Yeah, just because I do journalism work with my company. And I have received invitations before for other travels, but I never accepted it or did anything about it because I was like, how am I gonna do that? But then suddenly I was in New York and I got in my inbox that invitation, and I was like,
so was it an invitation for
to travel with the president to Cuba.
And do they have a certain amount they invite? Or?
Yes, the president wanted as many Cuban Americans in that trip as possible.
Got that check that one, yeah.
So my friend who was a producer for a channel in New York, she was helping me out in those days, and I said, hey Elaine, I got this email, what should I do? And she said, no, you gotta do it, you gotta do it. And I said, but I'm in New York, I don't have the stuff here to get it done. And she said, send it to me and I will take care of it.
Beautiful friend.
So that's what she used to do when she worked for the network. She used to take care of all the paperwork and everything that needed to be done for the travel.
So was it a lot of difficult paperwork that you have to submit?
Yes,
yes,
it was a lot of documents, and the stack of documents were like this thick.
So not just your birth certificate to prove, but your citizenship here, or your
Well, I already been screened because I covered President Obama before when he visited Nashville twice.
Perfect.
So I've been through that process already, but this was something extra because I had to fill out visa application, I had to send in,
everything had to be formal.
Yeah, formal. I had to signed all these documents and also give my credit card information. It was and she said, don't worry, I'll shred everything after this is done. I said, no, I trust you.
But that is the experience.
Yes.
So as you were chosen to go with President Obama to Cuba and represent Cuban Americans in this trip, what was your role once you got there, and what did it mean to be there?
Oh my God.
So you still have family there?
Yes, my whole family's there. My mom, my brothers, my sisters, cousins. I mean, I'm the only one, and my younger sister are out of the country. And the role basically was to report about his visit to Cuba, and I wanted to do as many stories as possible. But once you plan, I have all these plans, because all you can do is plan to do all these stories. But the time, once he got there, it was no time to breathe or to eat or
so
to nothing.
they gave you an agenda, what to cover, where to be.
Yes, I got here the
This is a very small itinerary, small print of everything that had to go on. Okay,
that is like a pocket itinerary, but we actually have it written, and then every day they will send us an email with
very organized.
Very organized, very detailed, up to the minute. But once we got there, there was no time even to breathe, because you gotta go, and because there was so many media outlets, and the
Did you have to attend everything?
No.
Okay.
The space and the time, it wasn't,
logistically possible.
Exactly. So they divided us into 2 groups. So, and then if there were 2 people on your team, only 1 person could go. So, and I had somebody with me, Christopher Peak, and he was gonna help me shoot and produce.
So he was
and
a camera
everything.
person,
Yes, but he couldn't go with me. They say, who is gonna go? And he said, no, you gotta go.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, so I had to pack everything.
With the cameras and everything?
With the camera, with the high heels and the whole 9 yards, because you gotta be camera ready. So they will say, okay, which event you want to go? You want to go to the speech with the president? They did a statement together, or do you want to go to the?
She had a lot of choices.
Yeah. So I said, no, I want to go to the joint statement, and I want to go to the speech to the president, to the Cuban people, and I wanted to go to the one where Michelle Obama was going to speak to the girls to high school, but I wasn't picked for that.
Okay.
So once I said, this is what I want to do, and you are SVP, then they will say, okay, you're SVP for this.
So as you got there and you got to be with the American-Cuban press corps, how was it for you to go home? How was it for you to go into Cuba and know that you could be there and leave? And I know it's a different world right now, but at the time, I mean, what is that? What kind of emotions did that bring?
Honey, I still don't have the specific word to tell you how I felt. All I knew was that I was going and that I didn't know how I was going to feel. And I told my mom, I don't know if I'm going to get to see you, but I'm coming with the president. And she said, it doesn't matter if I get to see you, no, you're coming to Cuba and with the president.
That's a good entrance there.
That was it.
So did you want a certain type of food that you missed? Did you want it to smell? I mean, when I go back to New Mexico or Mexico, you want that certain type of things that you long for that you can't get here.
Well, people don't know I'm vegetarian.
Okay.
So luckily for us, they had a media room set up for us, a filing room, and they also have food for us set up. Lunch, dinner, and then in between they have coffee, tea,
Cuban
cookies,
coffee,
whatever. Yeah, Cuban coffee. And every time I walk by the table, I say, oh my God, this is so much food. I never seen this in Cuba.
But that's a good reason. What was it, Cuban food?
There was a mix.
Okay.
They had a lot of Cuban food, but they also have a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, and the hotel Iberostar Parque Central is run by a Spanish company, so the chef was Spanish. So I said,
a variety of things.
Yeah, a variety of things, and of course they have my black beans, my rice, and
so there was some traditional food, with the taste of Cuba.
Exactly. So
as you're there, did you get to see your family?
Yes, we got there the day before President Obama arrived, and we were in a private plane. And it was all first class.
Wow.
So we got there, and here's the thing. We had to fly 45 minutes around because the Cuban airport wasn't answering to the pilot. So we were flying around, and I was like, when are we going to land?
And it's a small island.
Yeah, so finally the pilot told us, well, the tower is not answering, so we just want to let you know that we have 2 hours of fuel, just in case. So finally we landed, and here's the interesting thing. I didn't have no passport.
Because
my Cuban passport was at the Cuban embassy for renewal.
Okay.
and my American
So
passport.
we had some great press passes, White House
Yes.
Press School, all the transition. Oh, this is beautiful. Media
Yeah.
passport. So this, you had a lot of beautiful passes to get you everywhere and stuff like that.
So the White House kept our passports until we came back.
Okay.
So I basically those were my
credential.
documents.
Yes.
So we walked through the airport. They were, what is your name? You say your name. Check. Go.
Okay, so
check.
yeah, they
Go.
didn't make it long.
It was very easy.
Efficient.
Of course, we still had to go through, the machine and get the one thing.
But that
make
was
sure
still-
you don't have a bomb on you.
Well,
But it was
let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And let's come back to continue our conversation with Sheyla Paz-Hicks as her trip to Cuba, as President Obama's trip to Cuba as part of the White House Press Corps, and her experience there. So join us real fast with Que-pasa-Nashville, and we'll be right back. Gracias.